Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It is June the 2nd, 2020. It's the 80th day of the semi-quarantine. And we are going to switch Gospels into the book of Matthew, and we're going to be looking at the first part of the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse number 1 through 8. I will read. And then he called to him his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every disease and every affliction. Wow. The names of the 12 apostles are, first, Simon, he's always listed first, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus. Simon the Canaanian, there's also some translations say that Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent out, instructing them, "Go nowhere among the Gentiles, and enter no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and proclaim as you go, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand." And then more of their qualifications: heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. We're going to stop there. So let's first of all talk about the 12, and then we're going to talk about their authority. The one thing that strikes me about the 12, first, there's brothers, there's people with similar names, so it's just a little bit confusing. But I want to emphasize two of the, I was going to say minor apostles, but when you see their qualifications that they could raise the dead, there's none of these guys that are minor. Matthew the tax collector. So Matthew worked for the Roman government, was a sort of a company man, and politically he would be at the exact opposite of Simon the Canaanian, the political activist who was against Rome. And my thought for one of my thoughts this morning is how the closer we get to the cross, the closer we get to Jesus, the less political differences come out. And I thought that might be a appropriate thought to consider in this day of politics, polarization, even protest right now, that I think the more we follow Jesus, the more politics will fade. So I'm glad that I go to a church that really doesn't endorse candidates. What does my church endorse? It endorses Jesus, and then leaves people the wisdom to figure it out, and people can differ in that. So I think there's a tolerance under the cross that, we're all sinners, we all have different thoughts, and by the way, some of them might be wrong. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to emphasize was the qualifications and the empowerment that these guys were given to. He gave them authority. So he's the author and gives pieces of that authorship. And then he says, you're in charge of unclean spirits to cast them out. So Jesus did that in Luke chapter 8 when he went to the Gerasenes and cast out the legion of demons. And now he says, you guys have that authority. And then to heal every disease and every affliction. And then, like, verse 1 doesn't even mention the biggie, which is in verse 8. says, heal the sick and raise the dead. How did that not make the list on verse 1? Then cleanse lepers, sort of cure the cancer of the day, cast out demons. Just the authority that is given. And he's the only one that can give this authority to this very, very special group of people. Which leads me to my final thought, is Judas Iscariot, verse 4, who betrayed him, is in this group. He is the most overqualified, overgifted betrayer of all time. So I'm not sure if Judas knew that he was going to betray Jesus a year or two down the road. But I think Jesus knew. And yet gives these great gifts. And as I sit out in my morning deck here and the birds are chirping and the clouds go by and he gives general grace to this earth and the rain falls on the wicked as well and the good. The Lord has forbearance and tolerance and patience with those who are currently rejecting him and with those who will in the future reject him. What a God we have who sits here and takes it. Lord, you're a great God. Amen.